So, Manchester City, how would you rank their transfer window?
Well, I think if we look at everything in terms of the value, what they've actually paid for these players. So the signings were Cherky, right? They've just got the rough starting 11 up here, right? Cherky, Reinders, Ait Nouri, and Donnarumma, as well as James Trafford, who joined. So they signed two goalkeepers. And for me, in each of those positions, that's the best they could have done for anywhere near that price range, honestly. Like Cherky, absolute bargain. Reinders, Nuri, all of them bargains. Donnarumma, £30 million. Cherky, £30 million. These are price tags that, for players that are all borderline world class or around that, are pretty, amazing. So I think I'd have to give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of
And the
10.
reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because I think they've handled all of the positions they needed to this summer, except from right back. And that right back, I give them a bit of sympathy because I'm not sure there was, a whole host of options out there. But I think they could have done better than what they've got right now with Rico Lewis and Matthias Nunes. So that's the one that drops it. But apart from that, honestly, those five players for the price they paid, incredible.
You don't think Rico Lewis is a very good right back? I think this could be, the defining season for him in terms of his City career.
I'm actually a big fan of him. Like I rate him highly, but I think it's just that with him, a lot of his qualities are, the on the ball qualities, and he's good defensively. But I think when City's system is exposed, just because he's, still young, not exactly physically, anything amazing, and if City system is exposed, he's one of the ones that you can target. I think just because of
Okay,
his
okay,
size, yeah, all that stuff.
okay. Well, tactically, I see you have something set up on the board already.
Yeah.
Is this how you feel City should be setting up majority of their games this season?
Well, I think one of the best things about City squad is the depth, especially in attacking areas. But I think this is just a rough guide in terms of a team roughly in the middle of the table below how I'd want to set the team up. Obviously, guys like Haaland, untouchable. Rodri, so key that he stays fit this season. Reinders and Rodri, I think that's a really good partnership. These three here, you've got other options. So you can put in Doku for Savinho. You can put in Oscar Bob as a right winger over Foden. If you want to take out Cherky and put in Bernardo, because maybe, I don't know, you're thinking about more retaining possession and someone being closer to Rodri and Reinders sometimes. So they've got different variations that they can play with here. You can put Marmouche on one of these positions as well. So that can all change, but I think this is the general structure.
Mm.
Um, and I guess I think this will be a much improved side if we compare it to last season. I think they should be able to score a lot more goals. I think the connection between Cherky and Haaland should be, really. It should be a great partnership. I think Cherky's just been injured actually, so that I'm not sure how long exactly that could be a bit of an issue, but they've got so many options that yeah they should be able to deal with that.
Okay, okay, okay. And obviously Rodri has come back from injury, so that automatically changes things.
Yeah, it's a game. Without him, they're not a title challenger, but with him, they can be. It's as big
Okay.
as that.
So yeah, so next question is gonna be what do you see as their prospects for this season? Where do you see them finishing in the league? How successful do you think they can be all round?
I mean, I look at this. There's so much quality, and you've got Haaland up front who could score 40 goals, at any time if the team is functioning properly and providing chances for him. So I have to say they are title challengers. I don't feel with any part of my body that they're going to win the league though. And the reason is not really anything here. It's more to do with the defense. And these aren't bad defenders. I'm a big fan of Gvardiol, at Nuri, Stones and Diaz are good players. Stones, especially on the ball, such a great player. And in fact, he's a top centre back. But he plays so little football. He's been injured so much over the years. You can't really trust him. And Diaz, I think he's a bit overrated. I think he's a leader, stuff like that. But in terms of his actual skill as a centre back, I don't think he's anything special. I think he's a solid all rounder, and I think he's kind of been miscategorized as a truly world class, special game
Mm.
changer centre back. So I look at that and I feel like, especially when you're an attack minded system like this, there's a lot of space to exploit. On the counter attack, a team like, I don't know, Bournemouth with Semenyo, or just off the top of my head, even Newcastle, Man United, people with threats, direct threats on the counter attack can really exploit this, I think. So I would say the only way they could realistically win the league is if they make some changes in those games where there's a real threat on the counter that they need to be wary of. And I think that might require a bit of a tactical change.
And what what exactly would you have in mind as to what would be best for them to counter those threats?
Yeah. Well, I think you know what. Let me play around with this, and then I'm gonna break this down. Okay, so I've switched things up a bit, and really only one change has actually happened from the team before, and I've taken out Rico Lewis or Nunes, whoever's the right back, for Kusanov, right? Just for a little bit more solidity, but it just rejigged things around to a new formation, and I think this gives them just a bit more defensive solidity. Savinho is probably the wing of theirs that can operate as a wing back most comfortably. So I don't know if this will work as well with their other wide options, but specifically with him and Aït-Nouri as wing backs, and then now you've got this double pivot of Rodri and Reinders, but you've got now the three centre backs, Stones in the middle. I think this really allows everybody to be in comfortable roles. Everybody in this lineup now is in a position where you're thinking you're going to get more of the best of them. Foden more comfortable here, closer in the centre, close to Haaland, rather than being out wide. Yeah, I wasn't sure about Stones or Diaz, whoever that is, at the top level at this point, but in the middle of a back three, I think they'd be okay. You know, so I look at this now, and you got two players behind Haaland close to him. I think that will help as well. If they play this, especially against the bigger teams, big Champions League nights, then I think this gives them more of a chance of genuinely being competitive in those games.
Okay. Would you say this three back setup would be similar to how they were setting up in their treble winning season?
It is very similar to that, exactly, and that's why I think there's potential for Pep to try something like this. I think it's very similar. The difference is, I guess, their wide players there were Bernardo and Grealish, and they weren't meant to really do too much in the final third. It was mainly about retaining possession. I think you want similar from these wing backs, but they're more, up and down players. I know he's very, good technically, can come inside and stuff, but both of them,
More direct.
the more direct, exactly, and that's what their role would be. And can settle into a back five at times. Um, but yeah, it's just about finding Foden and Turkey in these, in between the lines here. And then once you can do that, this is dangerous. This is danger from all over. I think, this might be the option as their number one choice. This could be the starting formation, all things considered. So yeah, I think this might be it.